It's time for spring training baseball. Good afternoon, everybody. Along with Pete Van Weeren and Skip Carey, this is Ernie Johnson speaking to you from Kissimmee, Florida, where this afternoon it's the Braves against the Houston Astros. This is the first of 4 telecasts. We'll be with you again tomorrow from West Palm Beach against the Orioles. Well, Pete, we've watched them for a few games. Braves got a couple of good-looking youngsters.
A lot of new faces in camp this year. The big story so far this spring has been the play of shortstop Jeff Blauser, only 21 years old. He's in the lineup today. Andres Thomas hasn't been able to play because of a shoulder injury, and Blauser has really opened some eyes. Other newcomers in the lineup today, Greg Nettles trying to hang on as a major leaguer. He'll be at third base. Deion James and Trench Davis competing for spots in the outfield. They'll both be playing today.
All right, we've been in the booth getting our lineups together. All the people walking by and saying we watched the telecast, but the first question is, Skip, how's Dad doing?
He's doing pretty well, Ernie. Out of the hospital, home in Palm Springs, and probably watching the game today. And if so, hi, Pop. Get well fast. Don't know when he'll be back, but he's a tough old bird. He'll be back.
He's a tough old bird. We'll be back with the starting lineups right after this message.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for our first televised exhibition game of the season. First for the visiting Braves, who come in with a Grapefruit League record of 4-3. Deion James will lead off and play center field. Trench Davis bats number 2 in left field. Gerald Perry will play first base and bat third. The cleanup hitter today will be third baseman Greg Nettles. Ken Oberkfell will be at second base today. He'll bat fifth. Darrell Motley is in right field, batting sixth. The catcher hitting seventh is Ozzie Virgil. Jeff Blauser will be at shortstop, batting eighth. And pitching, Rick Mailer. He'll be the opening night pitcher for Atlanta. He's had kind of a rocky spring so far. After a 14-18 season last year, Mailer with an 0-2 record so far this spring. For Houston, Bill Doran will lead off and play second base. Billy Hatcher will be in center field, hitting second. Terry Poole, the left fielder, will bat third. In the middle of the order, Alan Ashby will do the catching. Paul Householder will be in right field, and Phil Garner will be at third base. And the lower third of the order has Mark Bailey at first, Bert Pena playing shortstop, and right-hander Danny Darwin doing the pitching. Danny Darwin came over from Milwaukee last season. So far this spring, he's pitched in just one game, went 3 innings without giving up an earned run. Houston with a record of 2-4 so far this spring. Of course, they are the defending champions in the National League West. And they are one of the few teams that did not make a number of changes on their roster during the offseason. In fact, they made no major trades at all during the offseason. They're going pretty much with the same unit that won it for them last year. The Braves, of course, made a lot of changes on the roster, and a lot of changes may still be coming before opening day comes along, as there are still rumors about trades possibly involving Glenn Hubbard, among other players. And the competition, I think, on the Braves ball club a lot more than there is on the Houston club. Most of the Houston positions pretty well locked in from their performances of a year ago, whereas the Braves will have new people at second base, perhaps a new shortstop this year. At least one outfield position will be new, and there might be a couple of new faces. In fact, there certainly will be a couple of new faces on the pitching staff. Randy O'Neill, one of those new faces, will be on the mound tomorrow, our next telecast against Baltimore. Deion James set to lead things off now against Danny Darwin, and stepping in to tell you all about it, once again, here's Skip Carey.
Okay, Pete, thank you very much. Darwin is in his second outing of the spring. Had a very good one first time out. 3 shutout innings, 3 strikeouts. He came over from Milwaukee late last year and really helped nail it down. He was 5-2 with Houston with an excellent earned run average. Did not pitch in the playoffs. James hitting .286 for the spring. Fastball is a strike, and we're underway, 0-1. Billy Hone is the plate umpire with Gary Darling, Scott Grinder, and the veteran Frank Pulley on the bases. Low and inside, and the count evens 1-1. James, a much bigger guy than I thought he would be.
I had the same feeling the first time I saw him. I thought he was going to be a small guy. He's tall.
And he rips one into right field for a base hit. You all remember what happened there, because along about August 17th or so, we'll be asking you what happened to the first batter in a first spring training telecast. Here's Trench Davis, a former Pittsburgh player and a guy Chuck Tanner knows well.
And a guy who, as a non-roster player, has a chance of making this ball club. He's hitting .444 this spring.
And he's driven in 2 runs.
Getting a lot of playing time.
James has great speed, is not a great base stealer. Davis shortened as if to bunt, took it low and away. 1 ball, no strikes. You'll be happy to know that the city council of the city of Houston sang the national anthem prior to the game. Wonder who's minding the store back home. The 1-0, there goes the runner. A strike, and Ashby's throw is high, and he is in there. Dion James swipes second. So the Braves have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. The count is now 1-1.
One weakness on this Houston ball club, even in winning the division last year, may have been the throwing by their catchers. Ashby has never been great at throwing out runners. That was not a good throw there. And they're not real deep at that position this year. They have only one other catcher on the roster, and that's Robbie Wine, who is the son of former Braves manager Bobby Wine. And they're looking at some non-roster people also besides him.
A ball and a strike on Trench Davis. At the knees, good live fastball, a ball and 2 strikes. Big crowd here in Kissimmee, which is only about 18 miles southwest of Orlando. The 1-2 pitch. Oh, he really jammed him, but he fought it off, fouled it to the screen. You ever rented a car at the Orlando airport?
I probably have at one time, but I can't recall. It may have been 5 or 6 years ago.
Boy, oh boy. If you make one wrong turn, you're in that garage for an hour.
I think the airport has expanded since I experienced a car rental there.
Beautiful airport. A ball and 2 strikes, the count. Breaking ball, loop left field, base hit. Terry Poole in and up with it. They're going to hold James. And the Braves have him on the corners with nobody out. And Trench Davis continues his good work. He was behind in the count and looped it into left field.
Well, an obvious shortcoming on the Braves ball club of a year ago was speed. They had very little speed, and that's what Chuck Tanner's been looking at this spring, trying to get a combination at the top of the order that will give him some speed. And in Dion James and Trench Davis, or Dion James and Damaso Garcia, depending on who plays each day, you get a little more speed at the top of the order, so that should be an improvement in the Braves ball club this year. This is the kind of situation you saw very little of last year. First and third, nobody out to open a game.
Gerald Perry, the batter, he's had a great offensive spring, though he has struggled defensively at first base. Sitting .304, he's driven in 10 runs, has 3 homers. Fastball high and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Pete and Skip with you at the moment. Ernie is, as he has so often in his career, warming up in the bullpen. And he'll be with you a bit later on. Throw to first. Davis is back easily. Runner goes from first. Ashby throws through. He is out of there. Davis did not get a good jump off first base.
In fact, the jump was so poor that Ashby was able to take a look down at the runner at third, Dion James, before going ahead with a throw to second. He had plenty of time to make the throw. Davis never got to the bag.
Call was obviously a correct one, so the runner is at third with 1 out. Two and 0 the count on Gerald Perry. Now it's 3-0. Greg Nettles is on deck. He's swinging 3-0 and he fouls it away. The Orioles furnish the opposition tomorrow in West Palm Beach. We'll be on a half hour later. At 1:30, 1:35, 1:30, somewhere in there. Full count, 3-2.
Randy O'Neill will pitch for Atlanta, and a youngster named Eric Bell, who's getting some rave reviews out of the Orioles camp in Miami, will be on the mound for them.
And as he'll be pitching in Florida tomorrow, we can probably call him Southern Belle.
Probably.
3 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Perry. Foul tipped it back. It's still 3-2. James at third, 1 out. The Braves ran themselves out of a first and third nobody out situation. The wind blowing hard toward left center field. Strike 3 called, outside corner. Perry is pumped out of there, 2 down. So now Darwin has a chance to get out of this inning.
He makes a good pitch here. He has a 3-2 count. And he gets a fastball down and away. Outside part of the plate, knee high. Perfect location.
So it's up to Nettles if Atlanta is to score in the first. He hasn't played much. He's hitting only .111. James at third, 2 out. The wind has shifted now and is blowing in from center field. Breaking ball down and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Darwin and Nettles dueled against one another in both leagues. Darwin has spent most of his career with the Texas Rangers, then the Brewers, and as we mentioned, came to Houston in the latter stages of last season. The 1-0 pitch. Bounced sharply, but foul, past first.
Nettles in a very unusual situation. He says it's the first time in 22 years that he has had to go to a spring training camp wondering if he was going to make a ball club.
And he hasn't made this one yet.
Not yet. Being looked at as a potential backup infielder and pinch hitter, and he's ready for that role, he says, now at this stage of his career.
The 1-1. Upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Three and 1. Well, it's baseball season. Here's Jerry Vale in the audience down below.
I saw him down in the field a while ago.
Boy, he is. Fine crooner and a heck of a baseball fan. We see him all over the place. Check swing. Foul tipped it. Full count, 3-2.
Since Jerry Vale is here, I wonder why they selected the Houston City Council to sing the national anthem.
Boy, that's a very provocative thought.
There's the check swing again by Nettles.
Should have sent Jerry to Houston to run the government. The 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Breaking ball over the outside corner. So the Braves had him at first and third with nobody out. Got nothing out of it. 2 hits, no runs, no errors, a runner left. We go to the bottom half of the first inning. Atlanta nothing. Houston coming to bat. Rick Mailer completes his warm-up tosses. He's had a tough time of it this spring. He's 0-2, an ERA of 18. In 4 innings, he's allowed 10 hits and 8 earned runs. He's walked 3, and that's worse than he did last year, but the same kind of problem. A lot of hits.
A lot of base runners, period. Hits, walks. Got to start keeping people off base to get back to the Rick Mailer of a couple of years ago when he was a 17-game winner.
Last year in 237 2/3 innings, he gave up 283 hits and 95 walks. He feels and has proven in the past he's a better pitcher than that, and will try to prove it starting today as Bill Doran leads it off against him. Upstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. As we've mentioned countless times, first the pitch. Little chop toward short. Jeff Blauser in, up, throwing. Got him by a step, 1 down. Unless you have Dwight Gooden type stuff, which Rick Mailer doesn't, neither does virtually anyone else in baseball, it's very tough to pitch from behind in the count, and that's what happened to him so much last year. Here's Billy Hatcher, who will always be remembered for his 14th inning homer in Game 6 of the League Championship Series last year off Jesse Orozco. It didn't do the Astros any good as it worked out, but what a game that was. Breaking ball for a strike. We'll never know, but Mike Scott would have pitched Game 7 for Houston. Pop foul back.
They have been involved in the playoffs twice in their history, and they have maybe been the two best National League series. That one with the Phillies back in the, about 6-7 years ago, and then last year.
Popped him up with a good off-speed pitch. Who wants it? Gerald Perry has it, 2 down. So Mailer off to a good start here, has Terry Poole to get. Poole may be fighting for a job. He was a starting outfielder for many years for Houston, but injuries have slowed him down in the last couple of years, and Kevin Bass and Hatcher have come to the fore, so Poole may be fighting for a job. 286 for the spring with 1 RBI. His chances there, a solid single to left, so Poole is at first with 2 out. And Alan Ashby, the batter, he's 3 for 3 on the swing. So he's in a no-win situation. He can't improve his average. It can only go one way.
Put it out of here, Alan!
Ashby waits. Mailer deals. Low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Wonder what Houston's going to do when they're catching. They've got Mark Bailey, a non-roster player, not playing first base today. Robbie Wine. Little broken bat looper foul down the left field line into the bullpen.
Well, they were one of the teams that talked to Rich Gedman during the pursuit of his free agency. He turned down quite a lucrative contract, in fact, from Houston, and really hasn't been talked to by a whole lot of clubs since then.
Well, let's see, Andre Dawson is signed with the Cubs. Lance Parrish now with the Phillies. The big fish still out there are Gedman, Bob Horner, of course, and the biggest of all, but my way of thinking, is Tim Raines.
Saw an interesting story in the newspaper this morning about Raines, which hinted that he may sign with San Diego this weekend. It says he's willing now to take a lower base salary if the incentives are there to allow him to earn as much as he earned last year.
One and one, the count to Ashby. Pretty close, but he got back to Terry Poole. One pitch. Here it is. You know, the veteran umpires in baseball, by the time the regular season starts, they're ready for any close play at third base. That's where they umpire.
That's where they all work.
All spring. Ball and a strike, the count.
A couple of reasons for that, too.
Let up over the outside corner, 1-2.
First of all, in many spring training games, you'll see young umpires like Bill Hone, who is right now ticketed for AAA this year, getting a look. Ed Vargo of the National League front office is here in the ballpark today watching Hone's work behind the plate. So that leaves the bases, and the veteran umpire gets his pick.
Runner going. Virgil's throw is a good one. Dead pigeon, and the inning is over. Blauser took the throw. Fine throw by Ozzie Virgil. 1 hit. No runs, no errors, nobody left. We've played an inning in Kissimmee. Or shall we say Kissimmee? I always do that. We're scoreless.
The opening of the regular season just around the corner. Tuesday night, April 7th. The Phillies in Atlanta to open the season. If you're interested in season tickets, call area code 404-522-7630. For individual game tickets, 577-9100. Sales reps are on duty right now. There are also some very interesting mini plans this year. A weekend plan and a 20-game package where you can pick and choose the games you want to see. Ask about those when you call.
Ken Oberkfell will lead off the second inning in a scoreless game. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. The individual game tickets, the number 577-9100. And the other number 522-7630 for full season, weekend, and the 20-game packet. Oh, and 2 on Obi. He's hitting .231 for the spring. Pop fouled, out of play.
Oberkfell playing second base today. Damaso Garcia missing his second straight game. He's got a little fluid on his knee. Nothing really serious, but they're not going to push anybody who's got any minor ailment during spring training.
And Andres Thomas still not ready to play, huh?
He hasn't played yet in an exhibition game. He's played in a couple of inter-squad games, but his shoulder is still bothering him.
It's about time he got a little work, but Jeff Blauser is making the most of an opportunity here. Line left field, well hit, base hit. Terry Poole over and up with it. Oberkfell is going to fall down and stay at first. That base just jumped up and bit him at first base. Third hit of the day for Atlanta.
Obi takes that outside pitch that struck out both Greg Nettles and Gerald Perry in the first inning and slaps it the other way into left field. He was thinking double, but he stumbled going around the bag at first and had to hold on.
Here's Darryl Motley, who's helped his chances with a good start in spring training, hitting .333. He's driven in a run. Ozzie Virgil moves on deck. Fastball undressed Motley. He came over for pitcher Steve Shields late last year. Shields has since moved from Kansas City to Seattle, hasn't he?
Seattle, right? In the Tartable deal.
Runner goes, little hit and run, but Motley fouls it away. Glenn Diamond, our producer here today, good to be working with some old friends, Mark Goldsmith and Joan Hagel, members of the TBS Alumni Club, who are working this game for us today. Ball and a strike, the count. Good breaking ball. It's 1-2. I don't know if you guys have been able to keep up with it down here, but the Atlanta Hawks are doing it, boy. 9 straight.
They have been super.
They've been playing so well lately that you can actually understand Mike Fratello when you talk to him on the phone. His voice isn't as hoarse as it normally is this time of year. The 1-2 to Motley. Didn't mean to. Fouled it away. It's still 1-2. Braves have 3 hits. The Astros 1, but there is no score. Boy, he hit the daylights out of that, but it was too far out in front. A ball and 2 strikes.
I've been out of Atlanta for a couple of weeks. Marion Campbell still coaching the Falcons?
Yeah.
Okay.
At last report. Missed outside with a breaking ball. The 2-2 pitch. Drilled, base hit left field. Oberkfell will have to stop at second. Motley hit the daylights out of that. 2 on, nobody out. Ozzie Virgil the batter. Had an off year last year and a slow start this spring, hitting only 167. Virgil will be trying to stay out of the double play here like most catchers. He does not run well. They're loaded. Virgil hit by a pitch. And Jeff Blauser bats with the bases loaded and nobody out. Well, Darwin got wriggled out of a first and third, nobody out in the first. He's got bigger trouble here in the second.
See a lot of this, especially early in spring training when pitchers really don't have their good control down. He was just trying to get a fastball down and in on Virgil. And he managed to do that a little bit too far down and in.
It's a very nice complex the Astros have here. Osceola County Stadium. Blauser hitting .438. Took a cutter to high fastball, didn't get it.
Getting a chance to play in the absence of Andres Thomas. He simply has done nothing wrong. He has fielded his position excellently, and he has hit well, and he has run well.
Upstairs, 1-1.
It would be an awfully big jump to go from Durham, a Class A ball club, to the major leagues in 1 year. And probably Blauser will start the year at either AA or AAA. But if he keeps playing like he's playing, you never know.
Tried to stop his swing, could not. He's in the hole, a ball and 2 strikes. Rick Mailer is next. So Blauser could be a key to the inning as far as Danny Darwin is concerned. Breaking ball, low and away. It's 2-2. Well, Professor, you're trying out on the first question of the spring. How did Kissimmee, Florida get its name?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Is it going to be one of those kind of years with you? 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's still the count on Jeff Blauser. Oberkfell at third, Motley at second, Virgil at first, nobody out. Were there a tribe of Indians, the Kissimmee Indians, perhaps?
Could have been.
Sounds like an Indian name. Well, I know our research staff get right to work on that.
I do know that the Astros, who have their Florida State League Class A farm club here, call that team the Osceola County Astros because the Kissimmee Astros did not sound quite correct. That story came out last year. It was one of the more comical ones of spring training.
Full count, 3-2 on Blauser. Why did... Well, never mind. Payoff pitch to Blauser. The sacks are full and nobody's out. That's going to be out of play.
A lot of moving around going on in spring training. The Astros moved up here from Cocoa last year. The Texas Rangers have moved over to Port Charlotte. Kansas City getting ready for a move over in this Kissimmee area next year from Fort Myers.
And we're going to stay right where we are. Thank you.
New contract through '95 signed last week in West Palm Beach.
He's out of there. Fastball over the outside corner. That's the 3rd strikeout for Darwin. They've all been called.
And they've all been with runners at third base. A big out for Darwin here. Down and away fastball. So once again, Darwin with a chance to get out of the inning. The pitcher batting now, although Mailer is not a bad hitter for a pitcher.
Braves have had base runners all over the place. One thrown out stealing. We're in the second inning. Braves have 4 hits and a hit batsman, but no runs yet. Mailer falls behind 0-1. Deion James is next. The 0-1 pitch downstairs. He started to go, held up. It's 1-1. Bases loaded, 1 out. A ball and 2 strikes to Rick Mailer. He's getting good cuts up there, but fouling him back.
This whole situation may cut down on how long Darwin goes in the game. He's approaching 50 pitches already. It's only the second inning.
Oh, that didn't miss by much. He had Mailer way off stride, but the curve, I guess, swept outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little tap to the mound. He comes home for 1. Mailer can't run at all. Double play, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3, and out. And the Braves blow another scoring chance. 2 hits. No runs, no errors, and 2 left. Go to the bottom half of the second inning. No score.
It's time for you to order your copy of the all-new Braves Clubhouse Catalog Collection featuring the new Braves uniform. To order your catalog today, send your name, address, and $1 to Braves Catalog, P.O. Box 4006, Atlanta, Georgia 30302. You'll receive a coupon worth $1 toward your first catalog purchase.
Okay, and we go to the bottom half of the second inning. Ashby was at the plate when Terry Poole was cut down stealing, so he'll stand in there now. It will be Ashby, Paul Householder, and Phil Garner. We are scoreless, but the Braves had them at first and third. Nobody out in the first failed to score. Had the bases loaded, nobody out in the second failed to score, which is not really the way you like to see it happen. Well hit, right center, base hit for Ashby. That's the second hit for Houston, and Paul Householder, the batter. Householder, formerly with Cincinnati, then with the White Sox. Our associate director, Ken Nolan, with the binoculars here, keeping a close eye in case there are any substitutions in this game. Among other items that he's checking on for us. Pop foul back, out of play. It's 0-1. There may be better duty than spring training, but I can't think for the life of me what it would be.
It's the one man that should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't, is the guy that thought up spring training back at the turn of the century.
Look out. Check swing foul right over the Houston dugout. I think everybody's all right down there. Householder's in the hole, 0-2. Ashby with very little running speed at first. High and inside. Virgil bluffed to throw. Allen scampered back. The let up. He squibs it foul down the third baseline. He's lucky he got a piece of that at all. He was way out in front.
Tell you what's confusing about Major League Baseball these days. It used to be when you signed a player and he stayed in your organization, if he didn't make the major league club, he went back to AAA, and you'd come to spring training the following year and he'd be back again trying again. Nowadays, with this minor league free agent business, every year 8 or 9 new faces, former major league players with other teams trying to hook on somewhere else. A guy like Householder on this Houston club, a good example. Dale Berra's in camp for Houston trying to hook on with them. It's really tough to keep track of players these days.
The 1-2 pitch. Again, the change, and Householder was way out in front. Mailer records his first strikeout.
He pulls the string on the breaking ball, and Householder way off stride. He had already taken a full stride into that pitch before he pulled the trigger, and it was too late.
Phil Garner is the batter. Chop toward third. Nettles has to back up. One play to make. That's to first. Pulled him off the bag, they say, and he's safe. See how they score that.
Didn't appear to be that bad a throw. Let's take another look at this. Nettles coming up with it near the line. His throw to first. A little bit off the mark, I guess, and they'll probably charge the error to Greg Nettles on the throw. They do.
So Mark Bailey is the batter. A couple of years ago, he was the Astros' #1 catcher. They had him slated to take over from Ashby, and it never worked out.
Get ahead of Mark. Come on out.
And he's now a non-roster player, is Bailey. And he's in the hole 0-2. First and second, 1 out. Scoreless game, bottom of the second. Line drive. Nettles has it. Throws to second. Overfell can't handle it. The runners will be at second and third. See if the air is on Nettles again. Again, the throw wasn't that bad, but it was far from perfect.
Throw a little bit high. We'll take another look at it. Nettles catches the line drive. Looked toward first originally, then saw nothing there, then goes to second base. The throw just a little bit high and off to the left field side of the bag. And his second error of the inning. I wonder how long it has been since Greg Nettles has committed 2 errors in 1 inning.
Bert Pena is the batter. I would say it's been a while.
You might be talking years there.
0-1 is the count. So Mailer has 2 errors to pitch around here if he's to get out of the second inning. The 1-1. Ground ball foul. He missed a double by a foot down the first baseline. A right-hander begins to limber up in the Houston bullpen. A ball and 2 strikes, the count. Mailer was on his way off the mound, but Bill Horn said the pitch was outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Herb hit into the left field corner. That'll score 2, and the Astros lead. It's a double for Pena, who's now above 500 on the year. It's 2-0 Houston. The 2 errors come home to roost.
Well, Rick Mailer should have been out of this inning. The errors kept it going. Pena doesn't hit it that well. Not that sharply. Hits it in a perfect spot, though, right down the left field line. Hit it right off the end of the bat, but he's got himself a 2-run double, and the Astros have the lead.
And Danny Darwin, the pitcher, is the hitter. And he fouls it away. It's 0-1. 2-0 Houston. At the letters on the inside edge, 0-2. The runs are unearned, of course, but they count. The 0-2 to Darwin. Low and away, a ball and 2 strikes. He went around, chased a high fastball. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 errors, 1 left. At the end of 2, Houston 2, Atlanta nothing. We go to the 3rd inning. Manny Hernandez is the right-hander limbering up for Houston in the bullpen. Top of the order, Deion James will lead it off for Atlanta. John Holland wants to wish his dad a happy 70th birthday. Looking in back in Atlanta with the kids today. James will lead it off. He singled, stole a base, and was stranded at 3rd his first time. It's not been a pretty sight to this point if you're an Atlanta fan. There have been some pretty sights, but they unfortunately have not been between the white lines. Darwin pitching his last inning. James doesn't get it. It's 0-1. James, Trench Davis, Gerald Perry here in the 3rd inning. That's out of play. Deion is in the hole, 0-2. James came over for Brad Kamensk during the offseason. James out of Philadelphia, fouled back this way. Lives now in Sacramento, California. Last year at 282 at Vancouver with 30 stolen bases. In '83 at Vancouver, he hit .336. Billy Hatcher on the move, still going, can't get there. It's on the warning track, and James shows some good power against the wind. He hit that ball about 375 feet against the wind, and he's at 2nd with nobody out.
Skip, you mentioned earlier that James was a lot bigger than you thought he'd be, and I think a lot of people are going to get that same impression the first time they see him. Unlike a lot of speedsters, he's got a little pop in his bat. He hit 6 home runs last year. He hit a home run in an exhibition game down here this year. He's got a little power, and hit that ball a long ways, 380 feet out to the warning track for an easy double.
Yet another base runner for Atlanta. 5 hits and a hit batsman to this point, but nothing to show for it, except a 2-0 deficit. Davis singled his first time. Tried to bunt his way on, fouled it off, 0-1. Darwin has a shutout going, but he has not had a good outing. He would be the first to tell you that. Russ Nixon coaching at 3rd for Atlanta. Who's that? Tony Barterum down at 1st?
Tony B at 1st. Willie Stargell stayed back at camp. He somehow misses all of the bus trips spring training. Willie does.
The 1-1. Looping line drive, base hit left field. James is going to try to score. They should throw him out. Throws bad. He's safe. Davis is at 2nd. And the Braves are on the board. And Trench Davis continues his good work.
Second time today that Davis has taken the outside pitch and just sliced it into left field. He went down and got that ball. That pitch was really out of the strike zone. A good throw here might have made it a lot closer at the plate. In fact, they might have had Deion James with a good throw, but the throw was way off the mark. and that enabled Davis to get down to second.
And he's there carrying the tying run with nobody out. That's 6 hits for the Braves. That's good news because offense was sadly lacking last year. Perry pops it up. Bert Pena calls for it and grabs it, 1 away. So Perry unable to pull the ball or get the runner to third. And Nettles stands in there. Nettles caught looking his first day. Then a tough day so far. Called out on strikes and 2 errors.
I don't know which one's the number.
Davis with good speed edges away at second base.
Come over to pitch.
Breaking ball inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Manny Hernandez is ready if needed in the bullpen for Houston. Pickoff play at second. Davis back. Good throw by Darwin. Made it a closer play than it appeared it would be. Well, I'll tell you a team I think has really improved themselves. I don't know about their pitching at all, but boy, the Philadelphia Phillies.
There's going to be some offensive club.
That's going nowhere. Phil Garner calls for it in fair territory. 2 down. And it's up to Ken Oberkfell if the Braves are going to score again here in the third.
With the addition of Lance Parrish and Mike Easler to a lineup that already had Mike Schmidt and Von Hayes and Juan Samuel and Gary Redus and people like that in there, there's not going to be an easy out in that entire batting order, and the pitching is again the key, I believe, for the Phillies. They open up the season against Chuck Tanner's Braves April 7th in Atlanta.
Darwin ready to pitch to Oberkfell. That's out of play, 0-1.
Thought we'd lost you there for a moment.
No, mine just began to drift a little bit. Man's got to know his limitations. The 0-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit, tie game. Davis will score easily. Oberkfell will hold at first. He's 2 for 2, and the game is tied. He hit the daylights out of that. So Obi drives in a run. That's 7 Atlanta hits, and here's Darryl Motley.
And that's 4 RBIs for Oberkfell on 5 hits so far this spring. He's hit with men on base excellently, and this one coming with 2 outs. An even bigger base hit to tie the score.
Motley had a base hit his first time. He might have one again. Oh, didn't get quite enough of it. Doran will make the play on the check swing. But the Braves tie it. They score 2 on 3 hits, and they leave a man. Go to the bottom of the third. All tied, 2-2. Top of the order for the Astros in the bottom of the third. Bill Doran will lead it off. He bounced short his first time. Well, there has been some excitement in spring training. It occurred, it's my understanding, the first day Pete Van Weeren arrived when he was given a stick shift car to drive. Tell us about it, Pete.
Not much to tell. I'd never driven a stick before.
And never will again.
Never will again.
5 o'clock traffic. How many times?
It's only about a 2-mile drive from the ballpark to the hotel, and I stalled about 13, 14 times.
Oberkfell should and does throw out Doran 1 away. You no longer have the...
No, I traded that one in immediately. What really confused me was what to do with it once you got it finally parked. I didn't know how to or where to leave it in the... which gear to leave it in. And I got out of the car and the thing started following me.
strike to Hatcher. It's 0-1. Well, you're improving. At least you're not falling out of golf carts this spring.
No.
He hung a curveball. Davis came in, goes back, and hauls it in. 2 down.
Wind is blowing in from right field today, and a ball hit on a line down that left field line might get a little help. This one was a little bit up in the air, and Davis had to battle the wind a little bit. He starts to his right and then has to come back a little bit, but he's able to get to it.
Terry Poole is the batter. He singled his first time, and then was thrown out by Ozzie Virgil trying to swipe second. Braves have out hit him 7-3, but we're tied 2-2. Right back to the mound, and Naylor works very easy. 1-2-3, third inning. Nothing doing for the Astros. Ernie and Pete will get together when we come back right after this.
This telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta Braves and is solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves and the Turner Broadcasting System, is prohibited.
And that familiar voice joining us here in the top half of the fourth inning is that of Ernie Johnson, who, along with Pete Van Weeren, will take you through the middle three. New pitcher for Houston, right-hander Manny Hernandez, working his third game of the spring, make it his second game of the spring. He's worked 3 innings, given up a run and 2 hits, and struck out 4. He replaces Darwin, who worked 3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 2 runs, didn't walk anybody, hit 1 batter, and struck out 3. Hernandez at Tucson last year was 8-7 with a 4.71 ERA, then came up to Houston where he was 2-3 in 9 games, 3.90 earned run average. 25-year-old right-hander from the Dominican Republic. Facing the lower third of the Braves order, Ozzie Virgil, who was hit by a pitch his first time. Two-two game, 4th inning. A ball and no strikes on Virgil. Got the breaking ball by Virgil to even the count, 1-1. Charlie Palaio working in the Atlanta bullpen. He will follow Rick Mailer. I believe Mailer's scheduled to work 1 more inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that gets by everybody. 2-1. First time around the starting rotation this spring, Chuck Tanner had his starters go just 2 innings. Then they worked 3 the second time out. And 4 would be a logical next step. Here's the 2-1, 3-1.
Hey, come on, right here. Come on. Go.
Three-1 on the way. He walked him. That's the first walk issued by Houston pitching. It'll bring up Jeff Blauser. Blauser played at Durham last year where he hit .286. He has really opened some eyes around the Braves camp this spring. He has done everything asked of him.
He plays very old, just a kid, but he looks like he's been there for years.
A ball and no strikes. A kid like Manny Hernandez on the mound is not going to score many points for himself if he can't get the ball over the plate in these spring games. Virgil at first, not a threat to run. Gets the bunt down the right side. Good bunt. Hernandez has 1 play on to first in time. Down to second goes Ozzie Virgil. And with one out, Rick Mailer will come to the plate with a runner at second after the sac bunt by Jeff Blauser.
Perfectly executed by the young man. Pushes it down toward first. The Braves got the go-ahead run at second base now with one down.
Mailer hit into a pitcher to home to first double play his first time up. He'd like to atone for that now with a runner in scoring position. Not a bad hitter. Into right field. It'll fall for a base hit. Let's see if they wave Virgil. They're going to try it. Here comes the throw home, and Virgil's in there to give the Braves a 3-2 lead as Rick Mailer drives in the go-ahead run with a solid single to right. That's the 8th hit for the Braves, the first off of Hernandez.
Mailer, a good hitting pitcher, lines it toward right, and Virgil scores without a play at the plate. Boy, the amazing strength of the cable. You think the Braves are the home team here. A lot of blue caps around and a lot of people talking about the Braves. Our games have been coming in here for a long time.
Now Deion James, who was single, double, he has stolen a base and scored a run. A ball and no strikes, the count on Deion James. James now 6 for 16 this spring. He and Trench Davis both playing extremely well. Count 2-0. There's your runner at first, Mailer. Here's the 2-0 to James. Fly ball up into that wind in left field. It's deep. Terry Poole going back, still going. He's got it on the track. Mailer returns to first. I think without that wind blowing in as stiffly as it is from right field, that might have gotten out of here.
That's Poole in left, who went to the fence to catch the ball. And this is off the bat of a left-handed hitter. John Mullen watched Deion James play in winter ball, and he said, you're going to be surprised at his power. You think of him as a singles hitter, a leadoff batter, and steals some bases and all, but he can jack one out on you if you're not careful. And he's hit a couple of balls hard and long here today. Got a double in the third.
Trench Davis 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. He has scored one, driven in one. He takes a strike. Now, unlike Deion James, Davis about the same size. Davis is 6'3", 175 pounds, but he has never shown much power in his career. No home runs at all last year at Hawaii in over 400 at-bats. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. Davis was originally signed by the Atlanta Braves, played 2 years in the Braves organization, then went over to the Pirates. Now is back as a free agent. One and two.
The outfielders have 5 of the 8 hits so far today by Atlanta.
Braves leading at 3-2. We're in the top half of the 4th inning. Here at Osceola County Stadium in Kissimmee. That's a mouthful, huh? Line into center field. Hatcher right there. Inning over. Some pretty well struck balls in this top half of the 4th inning as the Braves pick up a run to grab the lead. Bottom half of the 4th coming up. Braves are up by 1.
Got it, Jim? A couple of telephone numbers you could jot down for season tickets. Call area code 404-522-7630. That number, incidentally, is the Braves switchboard. So if you got any other problems or anything you want to talk about, 522-7630 is the number. And for individual game tickets, area code 404-577-9100. A lot of good seats left for opening night. That is April 7th against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mike Schmidt in his game.
Alan Ashby leads off the 4th for the Astros and hits a broken bat roller up the middle. That'll be handled by Ken Oberkfell at second. He throws him out. And Ashby, who had singled his first time up, is out number 1 here in the 4th inning, as Mailer is having his best outing of the spring by far in this appearance against Houston. He was hit quite hard his first 2 times out this spring. But he'd still have shutout baseball going without the errors back in the 2nd inning. Both of the runs he allowed were unearned. Here's Paul Householder, who struck out his first time. He's a minor league free agent trying to make it back to the major leagues. Came up in the Cincinnati chain, played with the Reds briefly.
I thought he was going to be a real fine Major League ball player. He's played several years in the Major League, but they had high hopes for him, and he looked like a can't-miss prospect.
Second baseman Ken Oberkfell with a great stop, throwing to first, not in time. Boy, nice play by Oberkfell. Couldn't get too much on that throw, though, from the awkward position, and Householder with his good speed beat it out.
Obi makes a nice play. He can come up with just about any ball that hit in his glove. He doesn't drop it very often. Just couldn't get enough on it. Two position for Oberkfell, and it's good for the ball club is the fact he can play second or third, but he can't play short. He'll tell you that.
That's the fourth hit of the game for Houston, and Phil Garner steps in, taking low and away. Garner reached on the throwing error by Greg Nettles back in the second.
Oberkfell could play short as far as the glove goes, but he'll tell you that he just doesn't have the range for shortstop.
Infield at double play depth, and Garner takes a strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. Phil Garner, of course, a longtime player for Chuck Tanner's Pittsburgh Pirates during their lumber company days. Householder runs well, so you got to keep an eye on him. Mailer, one of the better pitchers in the National League at holding runners. And that's just as important as a catcher having a good throwing arm and an accurate throwing arm. That pitcher has to do his part. That one's going to be over the head of Nettles in the left field. Base hit for Garner. Householder will stop at second. The Astros are threatening again. First and second, 1 down. 5 hits now off Rick Mailer. Mark Bailey, the batter. He lined out to third in the second. He's playing first base today. Glenn Davis, normally the first baseman for Houston. Bailey getting a look over there today. He's a catcher by trade. He did something that's been done by only a very few Major League ball players. A couple of years ago for Houston, he had a home run right-handed and 1 left-handed in the same ball game. It's only been done by a handful of players. Little chopper down the first base side, foul. 1-1. Big question this year for the Houston Ball Club is, can they do it again? They got good years out of an awful lot of people last year.
Came so close. You know, many people feel they could have beaten the Mets in the championship series, just like the California Angels could have beaten the Red Sox. Then the Red Sox could have beaten the Mets. A lot of could-haves last season.
1 ball, 1 strike on Bailey.
Just a break here or there.
Two and 1 the count.
Maybe we should substitute the word should have, because they were all in position to change those games.
1 man out here in the 4th inning. It's a nice complex they have here. All the minor leaguers as well as the Major League club trained here at the Kissimmee complex. Good slow curveball in the outside corner.
You and Skip were mentioning the different teams moving in spring training, and I believe the Mets are going to move to Port St. Lucie next year.
Yes,
are they following? I think it's next
Cincinnati
year.
talking about moving out of Tampa.
Yeah.
Two and 2 the count now on Mark Bailey. Now it's full 3-2. They seem to be developing 3 core areas around the state of Florida. One around the Tampa St. Pete area, one around the Orlando area, one around the West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale area. Trying to get as many teams as they can based around those 3 areas, and the teams don't have quite as far to travel to play their road games.
No one likes to be off the beaten path. It's hard to schedule anybody to make that long trip.
Runners going on the 3-2, and it's fouled away. Still 3-2. That was a big problem for Kansas City for so many years over in Fort Myers. It's a lovely area in Fort Myers, but it's a long ways away from anywhere else in spring training. And Kansas City is moving next year.
And it's also convenient for the fans. A fan can come down who's a baseball nut and just get a motel room right in the middle, perhaps, of 6 Major League ball clubs, and within 15 minutes he can watch any number of games that he wants.
Again, the runners going on the 3-2. This one grounded toward first. Perry bobbles it, but he'll recover and make the play at first, retiring Bailey. No chance for a double play with the runners moving. And there are 2 outs in the inning. Now Bert Pena, the shortstop. Pena has been on the verge of making it to the major leagues for a number of years. He has bounced back and forth between major leagues and AAA since 1981.
Going to walk him.
They'll intentionally walk him and go against the pitcher, Manny Hernandez. This will be the first walk issued by Mailer. Charlie Paleo is loosening in the Atlanta bullpen. He will come on and work in the 5th inning. So they're loaded down for the pitcher, Manny Hernandez. In this kind of situation during the regular season, you'd see a pinch hitter, but it's very different in spring training. Every pitcher is given a certain number of innings or pitches for his assignment in the game, so they let him hit in situations where they otherwise might pinch hit. Good curveball, 0-1 the count on Hernandez. You saw Householder at third, Garner at second, Pena at first. And the 0-1. Right through there, 0-2. Mailer going right after him with 2 outs. Here's the 0-2. Good stop by Virgil. One ball, 2 strikes. It's a 3-2 Atlanta lead. Houston has loaded them up here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Almost. 2-2. Funny hop, caught it barehanded and threw him out at second base. That's the kind of thing that youngster has been doing all spring long. Jeff Blauser playing an awful hop and hanging in there, staying with it. The inning is over. We go to the 5th inning. Still 3-2 Atlanta.
This coming Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, the Boston Celtics at Milwaukee Bucks. Skip Carey and Bill Russell will call the action. That's live at 8:05 right here on the Superstation. And Friday night, the Denver Nuggets at Philadelphia with Mel Proctor and Red Auerbach. Live at 7:35. NBA basketball.
In the 5th inning, Gerald Perry, Greg Nettles, and Ken Oberkfell do up against Manny Hernandez, who works his 2nd inning. 3 runs, 8 hits in the game for Atlanta, 2 runs, 5 hits for Houston. Braves have made 2 errors. And Perry will lead it off. He has struck out and popped to short. Perry with 10 RBIs in the first 7 exhibition games this year. Trying to nail down that first base spot for himself. Into shallow left field where Pena will make the grab. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 5th.
He comes over and talks to you. You can't hit a damn thing. You've been hitting home runs.
Now Greg Nettles, who has struck out and popped to 3rd.
Away from it now.
Hernandez gets the breaking ball in for a strike. 0-1. Dale Berra loosening up down in the Houston bullpen. He's here as a free agent trying to win back a major league spot. 1-1 the count now on Nettles. He tried to check it, was unable to. A ball and 2 strikes now on Greg Nettles. Opening game Tuesday night, April 7th in Atlanta. Also a game with the Phillies on Thursday night, April 9th. And the Braves make the first road trip of the year to New York. Householder with a diving try, trapped the ball. Nettles has a base hit. Good effort by Householder, but he couldn't quite come up with it. And that's the 9th hit of the game for the Braves.
This ball is well hit. It hooks right into the ground. Householder almost caught it. When you hit a ball to right into the wind, doesn't have too much carry to it. And put Nettles at first.
Now Ken Oberkfell is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles. 1 drove in a run. Braves have had base runners all over the place today. Base runners in every inning. High in the air to shallow center field. Hatcher out there waiting. And he grabs it for out number 2.
2 straight days for the Braves of hitting the ball. Yesterday in beating the Expos, they had 6 runs on 12 hits. And today so far they've got 9 hits.
Braves trying to win their 4th straight game in exhibition play after kind of a shaky start. Didn't play very well the first 2 or 3 exhibition games and got things turned around. And they're trying to maintain that pace today. Darryl Motley, who was singled and popped to second, steps in. With 2 outs now and a runner at first. Nettles not being held. Ball 1 to Motley. Two the count. We televise again tomorrow from West Palm Beach at 1:30 Eastern Time against the Baltimore Orioles. Randy O'Neal, newcomer from the Detroit Tigers, will be on the mound for Atlanta against Baltimore rookie Eric Bell. Pena with a nice grab. Let's see if he can throw him out. Nope. Good effort by Pena. Almost got Darryl Motley, who runs quite well. That'll go as an infield hit, the 10th hit of the game for the Braves. Runners now at first and second.
Pena, who's made a career of playing in Tucson, Arizona, would like to make this ball club for a complete year. If he keeps making plays like that, he's got a chance. He couldn't throw the runner out, Motley. He runs too well, but he made a nice play in the hole.
So now with runners at first and second, Ozzie Virgil, who was hit by a pitch in the second, walked in the 4th, steps in. Didn't get the breaking ball, 0-1. Ozzie could really use a big hit. He has struggled a bit this spring after a disappointing season for Atlanta last year.
Public relations wise, it's important for the Braves to have a good spring training. And Chuck Tanner trying to win every ball game. When you win a pennant like Houston, or you win the World Series like the Mets, the spring training record really isn't that important. The fans know that you've got a good ball club, just a matter of time. But when you finish last, and maybe finish 5th and 6th, like the Braves have done the last couple of years, in order to build some confidence in the fans, you got to go down there and show them that you are capable of winning some ball games, even though they are spring training games.
Here's the 0-1 to Virgil. Didn't get the breaking ball again, 0-2. I think it's true of the players, too, building confidence in themselves.
Sure. And everybody feels better. You go in the clubhouse, I don't care if it's a spring training game or a regular season game. After you've won a ball game, everybody feels better.
Hernandez ahead in the count now, 0-2. Motley off first. Nettles off second. And that's that. Hernandez records his first strikeout. The Braves find a couple of base runners. We go to the bottom half of the 5th. Still Atlanta 3, Houston 2. We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. A new pitcher for Atlanta, right-hander Charlie Palaio, replacing Rick Mailer, who worked 4 innings, allowing 2 unearned runs, 5 hits, walked 1, struck out 2. Palaio last year spent most of the season at Richmond, where he was 14-7. Came up to Atlanta and pitched very well in September, 1-2 with a 2.96 earned run average. He's one of the competitors for the number 5 spot in the starting rotation. Jeff Dedman may get a crack at something like that this year instead of working out of the bullpen. Been some talk about Paul Ossenmacher getting a try as a starter now and then against certain ball clubs especially. Bill Doran leads off with a line drive towards center. Handled easily by Deion James. Doran now 0 for 3. Billy Hatcher will be the batter. He popped to first in the first, flied to left in the third. Others in that battle for the number 5 spot in the starting rotation include a rookie, Kevin Kaufman, Luis Leal, acquired from Toronto. Jim Acker could be used as a starter. A ball, no strikes on Hatcher.
Acker has done well this spring.
He has.
Got a couple of saves.
Cliff Speck, another one we should mention as a candidate for that number 5 starting spot. Fouled off at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike on Billy Hatcher.
Acker, in fact, has 3 saved. He picked up another one yesterday.
Braves lead at 3-2. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning with 1 out, bases empty. Down that left field line, Davis on the run, makes the grab in fair territory for out number 2. Now Terry Poole.
You know, Trench Davis is deceptively fast. He takes those long strides and doesn't appear that he's running that fast, but he can cover that territory.
Poole has singled and was thrown out pitcher to first, 1 for 2. Terry trying to win back an everyday job in the major leagues. He kind of fell back to a bench position last year.
He's had some injuries the last couple of years, too. Pulled hamstrings, I believe.
Yeah, it's a hamstring problem that's really plagued him for a couple of years. Can't seem to completely recover from that, but it pops up again. Line drive. Oberkfell can't get to it. Base hit. Right center field. Houston now with 6 hits in the game, and the batter will be the catcher Alan Ashby, who was singled and grounded out to second. A left-hander in the Houston bullpen. Try to pick up his number and tell you who it is.
Tom Funk was scheduled to be the next pitcher, and I believe
that is him.
Yeah.
Nothing him on the count. We've told you about the Braves' new uniforms this year. You won't be seeing too much of those in spring training. They'll break out the real ones opening day. Houston also with some new unis this year. They've done away with those gold and yellow stripes across the chest on the home uniforms.
Peach Melba.
Yeah. Here's the 0-1. 1-1. The unis being worn today are sort of workout uniforms, spring training unis.
I believe Rafael Montalvo will also pitch today. He's scheduled.
A ball and a strike to count with 2 outs. Poole is chased back.
I was surprised to see Jose Cruz name bandied around so often about trades this year. He's
Saw
always
that
been a
a
good
lot.
RBI man for him.
Read a lot of rumors about
Yeah.
him in the offseason.
He's getting up there in age, but he's still got a young body and plays like he's about 30.
Look out. Foul ball right back this way. Where to go? Oh, it went next door.
Luckily went next door.
Count goes to 1-2. We are located right down in the
net
seating area here.
The net is in Atlanta. We're getting a lot of where's the net. It's about 600 miles north.
There's the 1-2 pitch. Popped it foul again. I've got to ask you, Ernie, are you going to get that thing restrung this year? I don't know if those strings can make it through another season.
Well, when you never catch one, I guess we...
I don't know if it would hold one.
Yeah. You got to be quick in spring training. Very intimate here. Not only
There we
here,
are.
but in West Palm Beach.
Right next to the Houston booth. I guess that's where that one went, into the Houston booth. Joan Hagel is the AD in the Houston booth today. I think she caught that.
Yeah. Another member of the TBS alumni. Bill Brown is their #1. Bill Brown's their #1 telecaster. He came down from Cincinnati. He's working next door.
There's the 1-2. A little bit low, 2-2. Braves leading at 3-2, bottom half of the 5th inning. And the 2-2 to Ashby just missed inside. Palaio thought he might have had a 3rd strike there. He had taken a couple of steps toward the dugout. But it's full now, 3-2 on Ashby. Poole will be taking off here with 2 outs. And the payoff pitch to Ashby. He got him. Breaking ball struck him out. So Palaio records his first strikeout. And the Astros go down without a run. 1 hit, 1 left. We've completed 5. It's still 3-2 Atlanta. Some defensive changes for Houston as we go to the 6th inning. Mark Bailey, who was at first base, now moves behind the plate. He'll do the catching. Taking over at first base is Glenn Carpenter, a non-roster player, and Dale Berra in your picture now is the 2nd baseman. He's also a non-roster player. So Dale Berra at 2nd, Glenn Carpenter at 1st, and Mark Bailey doing the catching. Dale's dad, Yogi, of course, a coach on this Houston team. There's Glenn Carpenter, the 1st baseman. And Jeff Blauser leads off the 6th. He has struck out, and he had a sacrifice bunt. He also made the defensive play of the day with a barehanded grab of a ground ball that took a bad hop up the middle. That ball pretty well hit left center field. Hatcher and Poole are chasing, and it falls between them, bouncing off the wall. Blauser is in, standing at 2nd with a double. I'll tell you what, this kid, if he keeps playing like this, he may have seen his last day in the minor leagues.
Stranger things have happened. We've seen players come from college to the major leagues, and he has had a couple of years minor league experience, in fact 3. And this ball is hitting the gap in left center field. No problem with a stand-up double. So Blauser just keeps on doing it.
Blauser this spring now with 8 hits and 18 at-bats, including a double, a triple. He's driven in 2 runs. He has stolen 2 bases, and he has sparkled defensively. Chuck Tanner raved about him to the media the other day. Had a couple of quotes in the newspaper saying that Blauser was ready to play in the major leagues right now. Palaio trying to bunt him over. Bunts one foul, 0-1.
Blauser had 3 years, started Pulaski 84, Sumter 85, Durham in 86. And each year he's gotten better.
So the Braves, who lead it 3-2, get their leadoff man in scoring position here in the 6th inning.
No, that's what's so much fun about spring training, Pete. It's always a youngster who comes along that really catches your eye and kind of shakes up the whole spring training camp. And this year it's Blauser.
Here's the 0-1. Vallejo gets the bunt down toward the mound. Hernandez bobbles it, picks it up, has to fire on the first, and just got it there in time. Moving over to third is Jeff Blauser. And with 1 out, we'll go back to the top of the order, Dion James.
We've seen a lot of successful sacrifices so far this spring. And there's another one. Oops. Recovered in time. Vera had an awful time at first with it because the throw was low, but he recovered.
So Blauser at third, 1 down, and the batter will be Dion James.
Now you might look for anything here. Chuck Tanner might try to put on a squeeze.
And I think that's what Hallowell's going to make a pitching change here. He wants to see a left-hander come into the game to face Dion James. So Tom Funk, the lefty, who spent most of last year at Columbus, a portion of it at Houston, will come on to replace Manny Hernandez here with 1 out and a runner at third. Hernandez leaving after working 2 1/3 innings, charged with 1 run. The runner at third belongs to him, of course. 4 hits allowed. He issued 1 walk and he recorded 1 strikeout. And we'll tell you about the newcomer Tom Funk right after these words. The new pitcher, left-hander Tom Funk, 25 years old, from Kansas City, pitched to Columbus last year in the Houston system with a 6-2 record, 6 saves, and a 2.53 ERA. Got into 8 games for the Astros late in the year with no record, facing Dion James at the infield anticipating anything. Ball 1 the count on James, who has singled, doubled, and lined to deep left. Two and 0 the count. If there was any weakness at all on the Houston Ball Club last year, they really lacked a solid left-handed relief pitcher, short man in that bullpen, for a good part of the season. Still were able to win. So they're looking at a lot of lefties this spring.
They not only look at him, but they put him in certain situations. Right now, Hal Lanier is saying, well, let's put him in this spot where there's a big runner at third and left-handed batter, because that's how they would use him during the regular season against the lefty.
Right now, he's having problems with him. 3-0 the count. Now it's 3-1. Trench Davis on deck. Braves leading at 3-2. Atlanta has out-hit Houston 11-6. We're in the 6th inning. And down to first, Dion James. So the runners are now at first and third with 1 out. Chuck Tanner out to have a chat with Trench Davis. I wonder if we'll see Chuck's pet play attempted here. Haven't seen it yet this spring in any of the exhibition games.
It's okay if I say I hope not.
Fine with me. In case you're not familiar with what we're talking about, Chuck has a play that he employs from time to time, particularly in situations like this where he has speed at first and third and speed at the plate, where he has the hitter drop a bunt down the third base side, or try to, and if the third baseman fields the ball, as soon as he goes ahead and throws on to first, the runner at third, creeping up behind the fielder, then breaks for home.
He's trying it.
Yep.
They pitched out on him.
The only thing about the trick play is that it's been so talked about over the years. When Chuck managed at Pittsburgh and Atlanta, it's really not so unexpected anymore.
I look for Tanner to do it more in spring training. He didn't do it as often in regular season. He did it a couple of times and it backfired. He had success in spring training.
Davis squares again, pops up the bunt. It's going to be caught by Phil Garner, and nothing's going to happen on that one. except for out number 2 going up on the scoreboard. That, of course, is the danger of trying a play like that. So 2 are out now, runners first and third. Gerald Perry, the batter. He has struck out, twice popped to short, 0 for 3. It's the first game this spring that Gerald hasn't hit the ball well. Maybe he could change that here. Luis Leal loosening in the Atlanta bullpen. James back safely. A ball and no strikes on Gerald Perry. Blauser is the runner at third, James at first with 2 outs. Atlanta with a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 6th. One ball, no strikes. Runner going, little chopper hit up the middle. It's going to be fielded by the shortstop. Pena on to first in time to end the inning. So the Braves had a runner at third, only 1 man out, couldn't get him in. Tom Funk did the job against the left-handed bats. And at the end of 5 1/2, score remains Braves 3, Astros 2.
To guarantee yourself year-round coverage of the Atlanta Braves, you'll want to subscribe to Super Sports News. It's the official magazine of the Braves. Each issue is packed with player features, action photos, and minor league updates. To subscribe, send $11.95 for the next 12 issues to Super Sports News, Post Office Box 89162, Atlanta, Georgia 30312. That's Super Sports News, Post Office Box 89162, Atlanta, Georgia 30312.
Paul Householder fouls back the first pitch from Charlie Palaio to lead off the bottom half of the 6th inning. He has struck out and singled, 1 for 2. And the let-up is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, let's see. It'll be just 3 weeks and 3 days before the regular season opens for the Atlanta Braves. Tuesday night, April 7th in Atlanta against the Phillies. You can order your tickets for individual games by calling 577-9100. If you're interested in talking about season tickets or some of the ticket package plans, call 522-7630. Householder down on strike. Second strikeout for Palaio. Now Phil Garner, who has reached on an error and singled. Nothing in 1. The count on Garner. Out of the University of Tennessee, Oakland A's, Pittsburgh Pirates. He's played with a lot of winners, hasn't he? He was with the A's back in their winning days, and then with the Pirates when they were winning the National League East. Now over at Houston, winners of the West last year.
Good man to have on a ball club. He adds a lot of strength, not only when he plays, but when he's on the bench, too. He's a student of the game and will play every day.
2-1, the count on Garner. 2-2. Palaio's pitched quite well this spring.
I think Garner had his nose broken on a foul ball at Pittsburgh one day while he was batting. He more or less said, okay, straighten it out and let's keep the game going.
Little soft line drive caught by Palaio for out number 2. So 2 down, and here's Mark Bailey, now the catcher. He is lined out to third and grounded out to first. That's out of play, and the count 0-1. Three runs, 11 hits for Atlanta, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Astros. 0-2, the count on Mark Bailey. This young man was on the verge of being the everyday catcher for Houston at one time. Palaio just going up the ladder on him there. Missed high, 1-2. And it's 2-2 now on Mark Bailey. Rick Mailer worked the first 4 innings, allowed 2 unearned runs. Palaio working his second inning. 2 outs, bases empty, and Bailey went around. Palaio recording his 3rd strikeout, the strongest inning of the spring. A 1-2-3 bottom of the 6th. After 6, Houston trails Atlanta 3-2.
We're going to the 7th inning. Skip Carey and Ernie Johnson with you now on Braves television. Chuck Jackson is the new 3rd baseman for Houston. Nettles will lead it off. He'll be followed by Oberkfell, then Darryl Motley, unless there's a change. Tom Funk, a lefty, and the pitch. That is right through 3rd. That'll be a boot on Jackson.
Sort of checked into the game at the wrong time, didn't he? Just didn't get the tailgate down.
Now Oberkfell with a runner at first. Braves leading it 3-2. Obi's had a good spring. He's had 2 hits here today. Knocked in a run back in the 3rd. 2 for 3. One and 0. Ossenmacher throwing in Atlanta's bullpen. 2-0. Houston also with action in their bullpen. Rafael Montalvo, I believe. Tough play. Base hit left. Just out of the reach of the shortstop Pena. So Oberkfell with 3 hits now. And the Braves runners at first and second and nobody out.
It's only spring training, but 12 hits for Atlanta in this game. There weren't enough games like that last year.
Well, today, so far, they should get more. Yesterday, they ended up with 12. And we might see a bunt here. But Motley has 2 hits. Tanner may choose to let him swing away. Nope, the bunt took it low, 1-0.
That old 1st and 3rd 1-out bunt play hasn't worked yet, has it?
I mentioned with Pete, I said, is it okay if I say I don't like this play before he did it? Pete says, it's okay with me. 1 ball, no strike. Nettles at second base and Oberkfell at first. Braves try for their 4th straight win and their 5th win overall. And the 1-0. Swinging, but took it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now he takes another look at Russ Nixon. They might put the bunt back on. You try to make the 3rd baseman field this bunt so that he has no play at 3rd. Popped it foul. Out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So the bunt was on for 1 pitch. Virgil's on deck. Tom Funk pitching. Got him. Strikeout of Darryl Motley. One down for Ozzie Virgil. First strikeout by Funk. Overall, they have 5.
He had a good cut at that ball, swung right through it.
Now Lanier is out to the mound again, and we'll have another pitching change. Al Lanier working it just like a regular season game to try to get some of these youngsters he's looking at into a ball game where there's a little heat on. Okay, Rafael Montalvo is a pitcher. And while he warms up, we'll break away for this message. There you see Montalvo. He will bat 7th. And the new catcher is Walters, Dan Walters. He will bat 9th.
Lighten up a little bit, Hal. It's only spring training. Mousing up our score sheets.
And Virgil will bat with runners at first and second. Montalvo last year with Tucson was 5-3, had 9 saves, so he's being groomed as a relief pitcher. He had 9 saves. With Houston, just in 1 game, he had no 1-loss record. He's from Puerto Rico. Montalvo, his family, they receive the games down there on cable. They keep track of their favorite son via the Braves telecast. Strike called on Virgil. Montalvo, a big friend of Jose Cruz. Virgil looking for his first hit. He's been hit by a pitch, walked, and struck out. Pop foul out of play.
We got radio tomorrow, too, huh? And TV?
Radio and TV. Double barrel shotgun tomorrow.
Trying to kill us.
Yes. And radio and TV a week from today play the Dodgers at West Palm Beach.
I like to play them in Bureau so you can hear them play Hail to the Chief when Tommy walks out on the field.
They did it again this year.
Did they?
Oh, sure. He eats it up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He lost a couple of pounds.
Did he?
Yeah. That was no hint or anything. Just said he lost a couple of pounds.
I chose to ignore any hidden meaning you might have had.
Fastball is high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He also aged another year.
I was the first to wish him happy birthday in September. He turned 60, the big 6-0. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think he's a restaurant owner now, too.
Yeah, out in the Marina area in Los Angeles, I understand.
Toward short, could be 2. 1 at second. Safe at first. He beat it. Virgil just did beat it. Left the bat, looked like a double play ball. .64 on the fielder's choice.
Pena had to back up a little bit, and then Berra had a little trouble unloading, and Virgil just beat the rep.
Carpenter at first had to dig the ball out of the dirt. Here's Blauser, who last time up hit a double to left center. Runners first and third and 2 down. Strike call. Paul Runge is on deck. He will bat for Paleo. Then we'll see a new pitcher. If Blauser can keep it going. Driven to right field, but it should be caught by Householder, and the inning's over. That'll do it for the Braves. The error did not hurt. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Atlanta leading 3-2. Paul Ossenmacher becomes the third pitcher used by Chuck Tanner. Last year he was 7-3, ERA 2.50, and he saved 7 ball games. Vallejo pitched well. He went a couple of innings, allowed 1 hit, no runs. He struck out 3. Mailer went the first 4, allowed 5 hits, a couple of runs. His best outing of the 3 times he's been out. Mailer walked 1, intentionally struck out a couple. No other changes for Atlanta. Pena will lead it off. Ossenmacher in his 4th game, ERA 4.50. He has pitched 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. Be with us tomorrow, too. We play the Baltimore Orioles. Airtime will be 1:30. Pena steps in. Nice hand for Ossenmacher as he's announced. Getting their signs straight, Ossenmacher and Virgil. Just a reminder, April 7th is the opener against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mike Schmidt with 495 career home runs. He's gonna, and he is really excited about hitting his 500th home run. He's looking forward to it. That'll assure him Hall of Fame duty. Foul away.
Excuse me, and Pete and I were talking earlier, boy, with that good lineup that they had last year, and you add to it Mike Easler and Lance Parrish, they're going to score some runs.
Yeah, I think they're only concerned about their starting pitching, but they're really stronger. Toward third, toward first, and 1 down. Pena now 1 for 3. They get 1 for 2. He was walked.
And now Dan Walters will bat, the young catcher.
Batting in the 9 spot when they made the pitching change. He'll be followed by Dale Berra up for the first time. Walters is a big guy. 6'4", 185. Born in Brunswick, Maine. Yeah, right there. Now he lives in Santee, California. Last year at Pensacola and Osceola. 1 year he hit 9 homers in the minor leagues when he played with Appleton in '85. That's to first, and quickly 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Blauser throws out Walters. Now Dale Berra. Berra has had a good spring, batting .556, 5 for 9. No homers, no RBI. Strike call. I was sitting behind you when you got on Pete about the stick shift. Every spring it's something, isn't it? With the professor.
The professor is always instant excitement when he hits West Palm Beach.
2 balls and a strike. The let-up has popped up. Good pitch. And Virgil should catch it and make it a 1-2-3 inning. And it does. Berra fouls to the catcher. We go to the 8th inning. 3-2 Atlanta.
Tomorrow night, join Nick Charles and Charlie Neal for the sports page. Get all the latest scores and highlights from the NCAA tournament and all the other sports news of the day. The sports page and a new edition of Kerry's Corner, if Kerry can think of anything to talk about. Sports page tomorrow night, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, only on Superstation WTBS.
Paul Runge will lead it off. Runge for Ossenmacher.
We have enough papers here. It's almost like that W-4 form the government came up with. Man, it's impossible to figure out what's going on.
Runge is 0 for 5 this spring. Garber getting ready in the Braves bullpen. This is the top of the 8th. The ball high. Ossenmacher trots down to the Braves clubhouse. Strike called. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I don't know about this year, but you know that blind date night promotion we've been trying to get off the ground?
For 8 years now.
When the Democratic National Convention's in Atlanta, maybe it'll fly. What do you think?
I'm in favor. Check to see if we're home. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There you see Garber, who's had a good spring. Leon James is on deck. That's it, foul. They're infield now. Jackson at third. Pena. There's Dave Smith. Pena at short. Vera second. Carpenter is at first. Calhoun joins Smith in the Astro bullpen.
If you had to pick right now, it's probably an unfair question. Who do you think the Braves starting rotation would be? Palmer, Mailer? And you almost come to a halt, don't you?
I'll give it to you. Runge's out of there.
Let's go, John. Come on.
Another fun part of spring training is picking the team.
Swung under the fastball.
Okay, Zane, Smith, Palmer, and Mailer. Those are the 3 that just about everybody feels will start. I think O'Neill might be one of the starters. He's pitching tomorrow, I think tomorrow, and he pitched well last time out.
Tell me, Bruce Dalcanton, the Braves minor league pitching instructor, has really helped him.
James fouls it away. Deion James is 2 for 3 with a walk. Palaio's got a chance. There's several that are vying for those 2 spots. They even thought about Acker, perhaps if need be, might put him as a starter rather than as a relief pitcher. Chuck Tanner did mention this year that possibly, maybe not right in the beginning, but he definitely wants to go with 5-man rotation after the season gets underway. Many times early in the year you go with 4 guys, sometimes even 3 because of the off days. Bounce to first. Carpenter handles it himself. 2 down in the 8th. Leslie Joe is here from Columbus, Georgia. Her mom never misses a game down in Columbus. We got a lot of Braves fans here, as we mentioned before. A lot of notes have been set up, but we won't be able to acknowledge all of them. Here's Trench Davis. One and oh. The McClendons are here from Gallant, Alabama, or Gallant.
Or both.
Tim Alford, Jim Reese, and Bill Bacon are here also. Ricky Adams from Alabama. Two balls and a strike. Two balls and two strikes. 2 outs in the top of the 8th, rather. Atlanta leading 3-2. Foul away. The Braves got 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and the Astros 2 in the 2nd. And that's been it. The Braves with 12 hits, and Houston with 6. Montalvo with the pitch to Davis, foul away. They've used Darwin, Hernandez, Funk, and Montalvo. The Braves so far have used Mailer, Paleo, and Ossenmacher. Foul away again. Line to left. It's going to be caught, however, by Terry Poole, playing shallow and left. Takes a line drive off the bat of French Davis. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 3-2 Atlanta.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
New pitcher for Atlanta, Gene Garber. Billy Hatcher will be lifted for a pinch hitter, Ty Gainey. Gainey bats lefty, Hatcher a righty. That's the reason for the switch. Gainey last year at Tucson and Houston. Batted .351 at Tucson and .300 at Houston. Limited to play late in the season. Braves up by a run, trying to win their 4th game in a row after an 0-2 start. Well hit to center, should be caught, and is by James. Now Terry Poole. Carey is loosening up in the Braves bullpen. Chuck Carey. Chuck Carey spells his name C-A-R-Y.
I have to talk to him about that. He's a very confused young man.
Poole takes high, 1-0.
I'm only going to point out to you that Poole is batting and Bass is on deck, and you can do whatever you want with it.
And there is Carey. I'm not going to do anything about it.
Boy, when looked there for a while like we were going to make a deal for Steve Trout, was I excited.
Oh, that was. Line and scoop by Gerald Perry. Nice play. That ball was hard hit. 2 balls well hit off Garber, but 2 out. Bass is on as the pinch hitter for Carpenter. Bass had a good season in '86, and he got a well-earned raise, a big one. In fact, it might have come from arbitration. Got to be up around that $500,000 a year mark. Down low. Bass batted .311 last year, 20 homers and 79 RBIs. Stole 22 bases. 2-0 pitch. In the right field, base hit. Kevin Bass with a single. The tying runs at first with 2 away. I believe the crowd's a shade over 6,000 here today.
6,188.
That's a shade over. That's a good guess.
So it looks to me.
This is Householder. 1 for 3 with an infield hit. Two outs, a runner at first. Pitch out, he wasn't moving. Baltimore tomorrow. Radio and television. We'll be with you at 1:30.
Is John getting down at all for spring training? You know?
I don't know if he can work his way down here or not with that schedule that he has. He might make one game. But there are only 3 left now. Telecasts after today. We had 1 rained out.
Boy, that was a thrill for me. I could honestly say that I flew down to have dinner in Palm Beach and then flew home.
Have you ever traveled 600 miles for dinner?
Once.
Thanks to Mike Faraday in this game.
It's about time.
2 balls and no strikes. Garber looking for his first save. He's been in now 5 games, has not allowed an earned run. He hasn't had a save situation. That was a delayed steal. I couldn't understand why Virgil didn't throw the ball unless he thought that was strike 3. But it couldn't have been. He couldn't have thought strike 3. It counts only 2-1. Bass got a stolen base out of a play where he started down towards second on a delay basis. Virgil caught the ball and then just held on to it.
Might have been a balk, or it looked like the first base umpire started waving his arms, but that's what it is.
That's what they've called now. They've called it a balk. Take away the strike. They called a balk on Garber. That's why Virgil didn't throw the ball. A balk called on Garber. So they have the tying run at second. Out of the way. 2-1. Kissimmee, Florida. What a beautiful setup they have here. Two-1 and low. Jackson's on deck. He's their young third baseman. Three and one on Householder. Bass is at second. Time call. Here's the 3-1 delivery. 3-2. Garber with a sinking fastball and slider, plus that deceptive changeup. Saved over 20 games last year. Tie the ball game. Householder with a single. The ball is bobbled. That'll be a single and an error, I would think. It's 3-3.
He threw him the change, and Householder waited for it. see, he had taken his stride, but he kept his hands back and singled to right. Now the go-ahead run is in scoring position with 2 out.
Jackson has batted, well, let's see. This is his 8th at bat. Batting .286. He's 2 for 7. Chuck Jackson. The 0-1 inside. So Householder enhanced his chances of winning a job here with a big single. An error charged to Motley. That's a 3rd error by Atlanta. One ball, 2 strikes. Time call for a moment. Now the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. And the 2-2 is on the way. Call strike 3. Jackson's out of there on a curve, but Houston ties it with a run in the bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th, 3-3. We're going to the 9th. Ty Gainey moves to right field. Dan Dreesen is at first base now. Dave Smith is the pitcher. Householder moved from right field to center field. So the outfield is now Poole, Householder, and Gainey. Everybody gets a chance to play. It's spring training time. Smith will bat 4th. Perry's a batter, top of the 9th. Smith is one of the best relief pitchers in the business. Last year, he saved 33 games. Strike call. ERA was 2.73, won 4, lost 7, but saved 33. Dave Smith. Strike call. We might have extra innings for you here on spring training baseball.
Well, we should. We missed 9 last Saturday.
Yes. Pop foul out of play.
If we do, the advantage will go to Houston because the Braves only brought about 24, 25 players up there.
Recently, I think it was the Red Sox and Montreal played in West Palm Beach, and the game was called after 9 innings, 8-8, because the Red Sox ran out of pitchers. Pop foul back toward 3rd. Let's see. Gonna be in the seats. A couple of ex-Braves are in the seats. Don Notabart pitched for the Braves, and he pitched for Houston. In fact, he pitched a no-hit game against the Phillies for the Houston Astros. He did allow a run back in '63. Don Notabart is here. Billy Reed, who played for the Braves, a second baseman for a bit back in the '50s, also in attendance with his wife. Little pop to short. Pena. 1 down. Perry now 0-4-5 for the afternoon. This is Nettles.
We got the rotation down for opening night yet in Atlanta?
Flip coins.
Worked pretty well today.
Yeah. Nettles at a base hit. Last time up. He's single to right. No, it was his third time up. He's 1 for 4. Reached on an error last time up. A ground ball right through third. Still a lot of big ball players that have not signed contracts. Gedman, Horner, Alexander, Raines, Boone, and Guidry. Bouncer first. Van Driesen fights it, smiles, picks it up, and touches the bag. I think Raines is going to sign. He's been talking about it. Look at Driesen.
Nothing to it.
Help. Oh, I got it. I think Raines will sign with somebody within the next few days. If Guidry doesn't sign with anyone else, he's a cinch to sign with the Yankees. They want him to come back. I think that has a lot to do with whether a player goes back to his club.
Excuse me, that was the strangest one because they really weren't that far apart.
No. 25 to 50,000. Maybe it was only $25,000, but 25 or 50 apart. Foul away.
Now, to you and me, 25,000 is a lot of money, but in this day and age in baseball, it's really loose change.
Oberkfell 3 for 4. Knocked in a run in the third. Fly ball right along the line. Can anybody catch up? Gainey? 10. It'll be at least 2 for Oberkfell. The ball gets hung up in the bullpen and right. And Oberkfell now with 4 hits for the day. Well, that was a great try by Gainey. He left his feet but couldn't catch it. It was right along the right field foul line.
Really a bad break for the Braves because if it doesn't get hung up in the chairs after Gainey dove for it, it's a cinch triple. They didn't think he could pull the ball against Smith, and he did right down the line. Gainey missed it by only an eyelash.
Now Motley with a chance. Last time up, he struck out with runners in scoring position. He's had a couple of hits.
There's another angle, and he still just missed it.
Motley 2 for 4. Smith has a great changeup. He's fast enough and has a slider, but his best pitch is the change. He has a lot of courage, too. 0-2. Motley not crazy about that last call. Oberkfell at second. That's a go-ahead run at 3-3. The Braves now with 13 hits. I believe that's their high for the spring training season. Strikeout. Braves strand one at second. We go to the bottom of the ninth, 3-3. Dan Driesen will lead it off as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Calhoun continues to throw in the Astro bullpen. Smith, I believe, is through for the day. Dan Driesen, who had a great career with the Cincinnati Reds some time back. He's played with several ball clubs since then. Let's check him out for spring training. He's only batted once. He is 0 for 1. So an attempt to make this ball club, Dan Driesen hasn't had many opportunities, and when you come down with that situation, what you want to do is get out there, play as often as possible. Strike called 0-2. Because you can tell when there's interest in you, and you can tell when they've kind of said no, he can't do it anymore. No balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, nobody on. Down low with the fastball. Bullock is the on-deck circle along with Pena. Eric Bullock. He's an outfielder. Here's a 1-2. Low with the changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Juan Eichelberger starts throwing for Atlanta. That's trouble. Up the base, up the middle with a bouncing single by Dreesen. Dan Dreesen with a single with nobody out. Now Pena, I'm sure, with a bunt sign.
That Eichelberger has one of the great names in the history of baseball. Juan Tyrone Eichelberger III. He's in the Atlanta bullpen.
The bunt attempt. It's low. 1-0. Nettles charging, so is Perry.
Pinch runner now for Houston. Gerald Young.
Young for Dreesen. Gerald Young is at first. And I know why. He stole 52 bases last year. Nettles to first. Sacrifice is perfect. Now Houston with a winning run at second.
Pena does a good job here. Deadens the ball. See how he drops the bat back as he bunts the ball? That's to deaden it. And Nettles has no play except first base.
Bullock a pinch hitter. He'll be followed by Berra. They're going to walk Bullock intentionally. The pitch to Berra, righty against righty. Berra has been called back.
Craig Reynolds will pinch
Craig
hit.
Reynolds. Reynolds for Berra.
Boy, he hits us during the regular season awfully well.
Two on and 1 out for Craig Reynolds, who last year with Houston batted .249, 6 homers and 41 RBI.
He has 26 home runs in his career, 8 of them against Atlanta.
And most of them at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. He hit 2 in 1 game once. He's batting only .143, 1 for 7 this spring. Reynolds can play short. He plays some third for you. Second. He's very versatile. Pop foul down the left side. On 1. Gainey's on deck. He's been up once.
Just to continue the thought, Ernie, last year Reynolds hit .375 against Atlanta.
No balls, 1 strike. Here's the 0-1. Low. Nice play by Virgil. We haven't seen Jose Cruz today.
Virgil does a good job here. Keeps his body in front of this ball so it bounces back out in front of him rather than to the side.
Three, bottom of the 9th. 2 on, runners first and second, 1 down. Now Garber to Craig Reynolds. Just missed inside, 2-1. Standing room only crowd today. Two balls and a strike. That's foul. Up toward Matt Galante. Makes the play. Dennis Menke is their third base coach. Tomorrow it's the Baltimore Orioles. Cal Ripken and family will visit West Palm Beach. Only time in history a major league manager has had 2 sons play for him. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Braves looking for a double play ball. Time is called as Virgil and Garber can get together on the side. Two-two. Driven to right field. Fair. The game's over. Reynolds has done it again. That hit the chalk. A single right on the line and right, and Craig Reynolds has done it again to Atlanta. Final score, Astros 4, Braves 3. Totals and highlights right after this. Braves have their 3-game winning streak snapped. Final score 4-3 Houston. Skip as a total.
Okay, for the Astros, Ernie, 4 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. They left 6. For Atlanta, 3 runs, 13 hits, 3 errors. They left 12. Dave Smith, the winner. Gene Garber is the loser. Houston now 3-4, and the Braves 4-4 in the Grapefruit League.
Braves record now 4 wins and 4 losses. Tomorrow we play the Baltimore Orioles. The airtime will be at 1:30. We hope that you'll join us. Coming up next is Wild, Wild World of Animals. Till tomorrow, for Skip Carey and Pete Van Weir and our entire staff here at Kissimmee, Florida, this is Ernie Johnson on this Saturday afternoon. So long, everybody.